Welcome back from the break. This is my story. With us is Samuel A. Bakutana. And wow, before the break, uh, someone reminded me, asked me whether I was one of the 5 people that
Who was
were
on my
his
hit list.
Thank God I had not been born then.
Yes.
I don't know.
Hopefully, probably.
But we continue with the story now. You're in
Chamakanda now.
Chamakanda now.
Yes.
And which profession do you switch to after now dropping the other one?
No profession. I didn't have any profession.
Up to senior 4?
I was simply studying. I was studying because whatever they put on my table, I studied it, I did it. If they brought music, I did it. If they brought chemistry, I was just busy with today.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yes. It was late around senior 3 when a thought of something to do with medicine started to come in somehow, things of biology, but it was not as strong as this other one I earlier had. I think because I had given my life to Christ at that moment, I was now just trusting him to see how he takes me wherever he wants. I was learning to trust. Yes.
Well, as we complete senior 4,
Yeah.
are there any remarkable moments that you can talk about?
One remarkable moment was when my teacher of music trusted me with his bicycle.
Uh-huh.
You know, you are a student, and these are teachers. So, a teacher is a teacher, a student is a student. But I met this wonderful gentleman whose daughter just wedded a few months ago in December last year. And I've been in touch with him for all these years now, decades down the road, who somehow became like a parent figure in one way or the other. Whereas a number of other teachers had their way of looking at me, he looked at me as a student who deserved to be listened to, who deserved to be advised, mentored, and so on and so forth. Greetings to you, Teacher Obadiah Behangana, the teacher of music. So one of those memorable times was when I wanted to go to check on my mom. There was something at home, so I needed to go. And the school was about 10 kilometers away. And I wanted to go there and then come back to school very quickly. So I went to him being a friendly teacher, and requested for his mode of transport to take me home and come back. I said, it's okay, Samuel, you get it. The mode of transport was a bicycle. That teacher gave me his bicycle. I rode on his bicycle.
And how were you feeling?
I went through Vianza town like I am in a bombardier. You were riding on the teacher's bicycle. And this is not just any teacher. This was a deputy head teacher, my friend. A very respectable man. Yeah. In fact, I need to tell him. I've never told him that was a memorable thing for me. So I went home and returned on that bicycle. It was a memorable thing. But putting that aside, one of the other very memorable things in that place was my involvement in student leadership. Extremely memorable. Senior 2, as I have already said, I was the leader, the patrol commander of the scouting movement. Senior 3, I was the vice chairperson of the AMREF club, which was about medical reproductive. AMREF is African Medical Reproductive Foundation, AMREF. So they had clubs in schools. So I was the vice chairperson. We started a club called God Cares for Orphans Club. So I was a founder of that. I started debating club when I was in senior 3 in that school. So I started scouting club in the school. I started God Cares for Orphans Club in that school. And I started debating club in that school in O level. I was quite dynamic.
Sure.
Yes. Then when I crossed over into senior 5, still the same school, I was the chairman school council of the school. I was the district speaker for Uganda National Students Association from the same school. Yeah. I was the director of the academic music club. Because I had studied the music in O level, I was in the pioneer class and I got a D1. So when I came back in senior 5, they started the academic music club. I was the director when I was in senior 5. I was the chairman of the debating club in senior 5 and 6. Um, then I was involved in the leadership of the sports. I was the goalkeeper of the first team of the school football. I'm a goalkeeper.
Okay.
I was on the first six of the volleyball team. Up to today, I play volleyball every Sunday evening when I'm in Kampala as part of my weekly fitness program.
Okay.
Those were memorable moments. And one other moment that was quite memorable was when I won the district essay writing competitions.
So I now realize that most of these things that we see you doing now,
they started a long time ago.
Exactly.
Just small seeds, yes, that have been nurtured over the years. Yeah.
Now, after senior 6, what next?
I didn't know what next at that moment. In fact, not knowing what next started at around senior 4.
Okay.
When we are going to feel, what were they called, the job forms, something like that.
Job, I think.
So my mother puts me on the side and says, my son, you know, you've been struggling with school fees. I was struggling with school fees the whole of O-level. I was only studying because I was winning in class and they give me a bursary, and then I win in another term, they increase it, like that. So she puts me on the side and says, you know, we don't have money to take you to HSC, to A-level. So what you do, you go to Nyakina, where I started from, primary school. In the neighborhood, there was a primary teachers college. It was called RPTC, Rukunje Primary Teachers College. Go to RPTC, get forms, fill them in, so that you go and study and be a primary school teacher. I had always listened to my mom. At that moment, I didn't. I kept on dodging, going there. I kept on dodging. I did feel it within me. So when results come for senior 4, I am among the top 5 in the school. So I go to teacher Obadiah, who was a deputy head teacher, to pick my results for senior 4. He congratulates me, well done, good work, wonderful. I had 17 points at senior 4. 17, I remember. So he says, so are you ready for senior 5? And I said, I am not ready. I am not sure. I don't know what next. And he says, why? I said, because we don't have school fees for A-level. My mom has been telling me to go to RPTC and apply. He says, but Sam, you don't know that here when you are the best in senior 4, we give you bursary for senior 5. That was a miracle for me. That's how I come back to Chamakana Secondary School in senior 5. And I study. But then it was on condition that for you to retain this bursary also for senior 6, you should be having the topmost amount of points for the 3 terms in senior 5. So term 1, I had 17 points. By that time, it was 25. Is it still 25, the top?
No, it's now 20.
It's now 20. So the topmost was 25. So I had 17. Second term, I had 24. Third term, I had 17. There was one lady. Greetings to you, Monica Echodu, Muchala Pastor. That lady, when they put it together for the whole year, she was above me by 1 point. So that meant I was now losing the bursary for senior 6. So I knew that that was the end of it, because I wasn't sure my mom would be able to pay, for senior 6. So I come back in senior 6. I just go into the class, waiting for whatever will come. So let me just study, waiting for when they chase me. At least if they chase me, I should have studied for some 2 weeks in senior 6. When I was there, I saw somebody come, knock. Excuse me, teacher. The head teacher would like to see Samuel Bakutana. I knew this is the moment. I went to the head teacher's office. When we reached there, I sat across his table. Rest in peace, Mr. Jotham Chimbugwe. He died last year. He looked at me and he said, so you know that you don't have the bursary for senior 6. I said, I know. I was waiting for him to say, and now you know that you have to either pay or you go. Then he said, we were in a staff meeting last week, and the staff agreed that we should pay for you, we should continue with this bursary for senior 6 on account of your involvement in extracurricular things in this school. I was the chairman of school council. I was the district speaker already in senior 5. I was the chairman of the debating club. I was the goalkeeper for the first team of the school. I was in the top 6 of the volleyball team. So I think they also thought about it.
They were going to lose.
So that's how I finished senior 6.
Okay.
So I have brought this so that you understand, because you asked after senior 6, so what next? Before you rush to there, it said at senior 4 there. Okay, so now senior 6, my mom comes again and says, I told you that you go to RPTC. Now these 2 years you've quote unquote wasted in senior 5 and 6. You should be now graduating at the primary teachers college. Now you are going to start earning money. So now now you think we can find money for the university. I decided to go and look for a job in a senior 6 vacation. So I went and got a job. Rest in peace, Mr. and Mrs. Kamjsha. They gave me a job to be the manager of their dry cleaning shop in Rukunji town. So I was there as the supervisor of a dry cleaning company in senior 6 vacation. I did that for about 5 months. After 5 months, I transitioned. Thank you, Reverend Amos Katshabe. Amos gave me another job to now man his stationery shop, senior 6 vacation. So I'm there at the stationery shop. It is in August, and the results come out for senior 6. I used to read newspapers almost every morning, but there was this specific newspaper. Now it's called The Observer. That time it was called The Weekly Observer, because it used to come out only once. I think it was on a Thursday. Yeah. So that morning, it comes out, I get it, I am in the shop waiting for customers while reading. I saw results are out, senior 6. I opened, then I saw some people I knew. This one has been taken on a government sponsorship, Makerere University. Okay, I saw Emmy. Oh, okay, I know this one. Oh, taken Tumbara. Of course, for me, I'm saying, well, let me just go on and do the work I'm doing now. I will find other things to do. In fact, during that very holiday, while I was there manning the stationery shop, once in a while I was also teaching. I was teaching in Nyakajeme SS as a teacher of music. I was part-timing there one afternoon in a week. I was at Chabagashi High School as a teacher of literature and English. Also, like one day. So now I'm opening this, seeing those who have gone to the university, and guess what? All of a sudden, I see a name in the newspapers that looks like my name. I'm saying it that way because I didn't believe it was mine. But the name was mine. And I was listed under those going to the university on government sponsorship because I was among the top 5 in the district. So I go district quarter to the university. That's how the hope came back. And I went to the university. I went to Chambogo University, alma mater, knowledge and skills for service.
Which course?
I did Bachelor of Arts with Education, majoring in literature, in English, and English language teaching. That was my first degree.
Okay. Now, how do things evolve up to where we are now?
That's a very, very long story, my brother.
But we can find ways of fixing it together.
So I go to Chambogo. I study the 3 years. I complete. I get a second class upper degree in education at Chambogo. Chambogo was, those 3 years were also my, what should I call them? Transformational moments, transformational years.
Okay.
That time, those 3 years. Because spiritually speaking, I was strongly empowered and impacted by Kakumba Chapel in the Chambogo University. Under the leadership of Reverend Alex Bwambare, who by that time was not a reverend, but was the youth pastor. He was a very passionate man. He inspired us, and he was awesome. There are many things I learned from him. I was with him last week, and I still honor him. I'm now working with him in areas of leadership and developing missional young people. So that season of those 3 years of the university, not only spiritual life, but also in leadership, I was heavily involved in leadership again. The very first week at the university, I was elected to be the class coordinator for the class, first week. The very first semester, I was elected. We were 24 of us contesting for that race. And I was elected to be the GRC, Guild Representative Councillor for the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences, representing 5,554 students in the Guild government. I went to the Guild government. I became the Cabinet Minister for Academics and Professional Affairs. I also went for Guild presidency at Chambogo University. Again, during that time, I was the president of CIV Campus Integrity Vision. It was a club that had been started to promote good manners and integrity in student life. So I was the president of that. I was the chairman of the faculty academic board. I was in a non-residence worship team as the papa chairperson. I was in Paris Missioners as a music person, to mention about a few. So that time was a very transformational time for me. I was exposed. I traveled to a number of countries representing students of Uganda. I was in Rwanda. I was in Kenya. It was highly transformational. It was actually the first time I met President Museveni face to face and shook the hand when I was a student leader at Chambogo University. So I leave Chambogo. I start working. I was the national coordinator, national director for PACO Uganda, Public Integrity Research Consultants Organization. After that, I became the programs manager for WSM International with the headquarters in Glasgow in UK. I was the programs manager manning all the programs in Uganda. Then I became the national coordinator for Delta Communities Uganda before I started Inspired Leaders International, for which I am currently the chief executive officer. But in between all that, again, I went on professionalizing in life. I went to Africa Population Institute for a postgraduate in administration and public administration and management. I went to Uganda Christian University for a Masters of Arts in Organizational Leadership and Management. I went to Coach Masters Academy in Singapore, where I was trained in professional coaching. So I became a certified executive coach. I went to Harvard and also studied coaching. I had a certificate in coaching from Harvard. I went to the International Business Management Institute in Germany, where I studied strategy and operations and a number of other things, just to keep getting better and being the person that I am today.
Okay. Briefly, as we talk about, as we get closer to the end, I know your story is very long, but time will never be on our side.
Yes.
I mean, how then and when do you meet your wife in all this busy schedule? I know you've just released a book, Busy and Loving It.
Yes, this is my 18th book.
Okay.
Busy and Loving It. Enjoy a happy life amidst stressful situations. So I was busy indeed and loving it. Where do I meet my wife? My wife is called Charity, Mrs. Charity Bakutana, Miss Universe, the queen of my heart, Honorable Charity my watermelon.
Basingo bakufa.
Bakuona. Bakuwasa. Now, I had left Chambogo University as an undergraduate at the undergraduate studies. She was at the Uganda Institute of Allied Management Sciences. By that time, it was called Murago Paramedical School. And she was studying a course that I have always told her if I wasn't interested in her, I was not going to cram it. She was studying medical entomology and parasitology.
Yeah.
Now, I was part of another entity by that time called Strategic Leadership Forum. And I was one of the directors, the board of directors. I was on the board of directors for Strategic Leadership Forum. Now, Strategic Leadership Forum, SLF in brief, had organized a leadership training at Murago Paramedical School. So I went there as one of the 2 speakers. So we went and met the student leaders at Murago Paramedical School, spoke to them, empowered them, trained them, equipped them, inspired them. My wife now, who was then one of the leaders, was in that audience. That day, I didn't see her. She's the one who later told me, said, the first time I saw you is when you came to speak to us as student leaders. So when I see her later is when I am invited at St. Luke's Chapel, Murago, in Murago Hospital, during an overnight to share the gospel, to communicate my story. Like I'm here communicating my story. So there she was, the one in charge of serving a cup of tea to the guest speaker in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Are you starting to
I'm
click?
connecting.
So that day in the morning, after speaking in the hall overnight, she served me a cup of tea as the person, the mama in charge of the speaker. And well, I see her, but nothing. So went away. After about 4 months or so, or 3, don't remember how long it took, I am invited again to come back to the same place, again to share in an overnight. So I meet her for the second time, while for her she was meeting me for the third time, remember? So I meet her for the second time, and that night she was the one leading praise and worship. So now she's more prominent and I see her much more. In the morning, I thank her, and all others, generally speaking. I had that habit which I still have up to today. If I go to a place and minister, I want to know people. So I want to know people, I listen to them, I ask them about themselves. Sometimes we exchange contacts, so I did it with her and many others who were there. Went away. Then again, spent a long time without talking. Then it was her later who asked one of the people who were there in that overnight, say, hey, by the way, did we ever call the other preacher to appreciate him? Say, we forgot. So that gentleman, Shem, calls me, talks with me, and then gives me charity to also talk with me. Say,
And thank you.
by the way, we chat, and that was all. Now that I have talked with them, I keep talking with them on phone. The rest is history. The rest is history. It was a certain March 2009 when I proposed to my wife, proposed to Charity, Miss Universe. She accepted my proposal. The Daily Monitor ran a story about my proposal. And of all the things that they interviewed me about, the Daily Monitor newspaper, they decided to choose out one thing. They made the headline. Now, you know what the headline was?
No.
Of that news story? Bakutana proposed to his wife on the prayer mountain. That was the title of the whole interview, of all things. Anyway, that was the truth.
Okay.
As we became friends more and more and more, one time I said, let's go to the prayer mountain and just pray together as friends. We went there. While we were there, I told her everything that concerned me. For me, I had already caught a vision in her. I had already done my due diligence. I had taken her through my tests that probably she was not aware of. I had my 3 non-negotiables I wanted in a wife. So I had taken her through those tests mumagezi, wisely, and she had passed all of them with the flying colors. So we go to the prayer mountain. I share with her everything about me, my past, my present, my future aspirations. She also opens up because I had set the pace. She shares everything, and then after that, that's when I pulled out my manifesto and say, so now that you know me and I know you, will you marry me? That was March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January. 10 months later, we were wedding at Kakumba Chapel with our reception at Kembaba's Catering Center, with our honeymoon in a place I won't tell you. And now we are in our 15th year of marriage. Praise the Lord.
Wow,
We have 2
amen.
children, a boy and a girl, Petra and Prosper. Petra is a teenager. Prosper is still below the teen age. My girl is in senior 2. My boy is still in primary school. So that's how I met Charity.
Okay. Now, of course, with all these, now someone would ask themselves how then you get into the position you hold at the province currently.
Being the provincial Fathers Union president,
Yes.
the national president of the Fathers
Yes.
Union, it begins with what you've just asked me about Charity. Because you can't be a member of Fathers Union if you're not married,
Exactly.
if you're not even wedded in church.
Exactly.
So the story begins with me wedding Charity, and then a few years later, I joined the Fathers Union at St. John's Church of Uganda in Kamocha in the Diocese of Kampala as a member. And after about 1 year, I was made the mobilizer of the union. So I mobilized the fathers for 1 year. After that, I was made the chairperson of the Fathers Union. I did it for 1 year. They brought me back for the second term as the chairman of the Fathers Union. Then later, I went to the diocesan level. All the chairmen and the secretaries and treasurers and members came for the annual general meeting. In that meeting, we were getting new leaders, and I was elected as the diocesan Fathers Union president for the Diocese of Kampala. A few months later, 3 months later to be specific, between the 26th of March 2022 and the 8th of June 2022. On the 8th of June, we go to the province, Namirembe, for a meeting of the Fathers Union leaders from across the country. We have a strategic meeting, we get there, and one of the things on the agenda is to get a team that is going to now lead the efforts of provincializing the ministry across the country. And I am unanimously elected as the first provincial Fathers Union president. Somebody put the name, that was Canon, Lake Canon Dralega Onesimus from Muddy West Nile in West Nile. He puts my name. A brother from North Ankole, Stanley from North Ankole in Churuhura, seconds the name. A brother from North Mbale, Mwami Gidudu, who is a chief administrative officer and also the president of Fathers Union in North Mbale Diocese, proposes to close nominations. A brother in Bushenyi raises the hand and says, I second, we close. So there was no voting for me. I became the first provincial Fathers Union president by God's grace.
Wow.
That's how I became.
Wow. So, Mr. Bakutana,
yes,
in all this life journey, in all the things you've done, and all that you've gone through, but your selfless efforts in strengthening and empowering fathers,
yes,
how would Bakutana want to be remembered?
Why are you narrowing my remembrance into fathers?
No, I was only giving a hint. I mean, because popularly,
yes,
you're known for that. Although you do other things, but I mean,
it's in your circles. You are talking from your perspective, but I think majority of the people around the country know me for the work we do as Inspired Leaders International.
Okay.
They know the author, the consultant, the executive coach, because those are the things I've done tremendously. I've done a lot of work with Parliament of Uganda, Parliament of Kenya, National Youth Council of Rwanda, Micro Labs India, Columbia University. I've been a leadership consultant for the government of Netherlands, government of Japan. Been an executive coach for government of Sierra Leone, Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Rwanda. I've done a lot of work for European Union, African Union, USAID, United States Agency for International Development, and currently I'm one of the 12 executive coaches on the African continent that are coaching permanent secretary level leaders in 38 African countries under the Kofi Annan Global Health Leadership Foundation. So I've done a lot of work in the world of leadership development, and many know me for that. It was just about the last 2 years when I've been very prominent in the world of fathers. And because of the position that I have. So what do I want to be remembered for? I want to be remembered for being a man who succeeded in the right assignment. I have come to believe that the worst form of failure is succeeding in a wrong assignment. And I'm glad that when I was at the university, undergraduate degree studies, I discovered my purpose. And my purpose is to inspire and empower transformational, exemplary, and authentic kingdom leaders worldwide. I am on earth to build leaders. Leaders who are transformational, who are exemplary, who are authentic. And when I discovered that, I have never looked back. These are now close to 2 decades of full-time building leaders intentionally. I went on a journey of realizing, why am I on earth? One clue that kept on coming in my mind was the thread that I have already explained, that I was a leader from P2 up to today. There is no year which has ever passed without me being a leader in an elected position, ever since primary 2 up to right now that I'm talking with you. So it was at university when I said, there is something about leadership in my life. I don't think I'm just born to be a leader. I realized and discovered that I was supposed to make other leaders, to develop other leaders. That's how I later founded Inspired Leaders International, which is an international leadership development firm that empowers leaders to transform nations. So I want to be remembered as somebody who pursued that purpose, and I succeeded in the right assignment. But also, secondly, I want to be remembered as a husband who played his role as a husband, and a father who was available for his children, who not only was there to give them presents, but was there to give them presence, who did not mind so much about what he left for the children, but what he left in the children. That's why today, as my family, we have a clear strategic direction for our home. I run it like an institution, lovingly but firmly. We have a vision. Our family vision for the Bakutana family is a healthy, united, and godly family of leaders. We have our 5 values that we have an acronym of SLIDE. Service, love, integrity, discipline, and excellence. So those values are part of the legacy I want to be remembered for. That I was a man of service who was loving, a man of integrity with discipline and doing things excellently. If I can fulfill that, the rest I don't mind. So all the things I am doing, I've told you I've so far written 18 books. In fact, my 19th book is coming out next week. Okay. All that is because I am trying to transmit what God deposited within me that I know the world requires, and putting it in different packages or packages according to who I am serving. So if I am like I was a policy analyst for Parliament of Uganda for 3 years. So if I am dealing with the parliamentarians, I will package the gifts, talents, and skills within me in a packaging that helps a parliamentarian. If I am going to speak in a youth convention, like I spoke in a youth convention last month in Ankole diocese, I will package what I have in a package that appeals to the young man, to the young woman, so that we have a rapport and I can be able to spur or stir up some transformation in his or her life. If I am dealing with business people, like I do that a lot, I'm a certified executive coach. I'm always coaching managing directors, executive directors, CEOs, heads of department. I want to package what is within me in a packaging that works well, that appeals and empowers that high-level leader. So that's all I am doing, building leaders for the rest of my life, beginning with my own family.
Is there anything you regret in life?
No, I have no regret at all in my life. Not a single one at all. Everything I have gone through has shaped who I am today, good or bad. Good or bad. There are things I did that were not right in the past. I don't celebrate them, but I don't regret them. They are part of who I am. There are things that have happened in the past. If I didn't go through them, I wouldn't be the person I am today. Like talking about the issue of forgiveness, I am somebody who finds it easy to move on. But it came from the list of the 5. So you see, I went through that, but because I had that transformative turning point of accepting Christ in my life as Lord and Savior, then that experience helped me to now develop a muscle of forgiveness. So whatever I have gone through in the past, to be honest with you, I have no regret. I can be remorseful about some things, but I don't regret my past experiences. Put them together, they form who I am, they form the gift that I am to the world.
What is that one thing that you look up to and you treasure most in your life, that even at that bad day, you say, okay, take this and this and this, let this stay?
Number 1 is my family, especially beginning with my wife, followed by my children. Number 2 is my purpose. Take everything you want, but just allow me to continue pursuing the purpose God put upon my life. And number 3 is my salvation. So those 3 things, my family, my purpose, and my walk with the Almighty. Take whatever you want, I don't mind. Just leave me with my family. Let me have the freedom to pursue purpose upon my life, and don't interfere with my relationship with my Creator. And let me tell you, if you even try to interfere with all those 3, still my relationship with the Creator will be my firm anchor upon which I will stand to still see how to deal with these other 2 that you have interfered with.
Not the other way, with the other 5. Well, we are winding up, but
Yes.
what would be your last message to the viewer of this program with all that you've gone through? And like you told us that probably what you've gone through is what has shaped you.
Yes.
And what would be the message you carry as your story, as we wind up your story?
I think it is to know, everybody should know that they have a story to tell. You have a story to tell. And don't belittle your story. Don't demean your story. Don't think that your story is helpless or useless. Don't think your story is not significant. You don't have to add in, any kinds of things that are not part of your story in order to feel like your story is now a story to tell. The experiences you have gone through, if you give them back to the Creator who allowed you to go through them, those experiences will not be wasted. You have a story to tell. You have a book to write. God has put the pen in your hands. Write your story. Ensure your story is transformational. Ensure your story will equip, empower, and transform lives. You have a story to tell. Write the story.
You told us up to now you sing.
Yes, I do.
What is that one hymn that you sing and it make miracles in your life?
Interestingly, it is in the local language, so
No problem.
So you sort yourself out.
Exactly, no problem.
Without it's a song. It is hymn 229 in the Runyachitara RR hymn book. It says Mamanzga Yesu Mwijet Hurre. I think it has an English version. I don't know the tune of the English version, but the English version says
Let us sing the other one. The Runyachitara
Soldiers
one.
of Christ arise. That's
Yes.
it says Mamanziga Yesu Mwije tuhurure Omukuru worugamba ni watwebembeire Muhamire chimwe ahabwa manige mujware byo kurwanisa ebyo mushanagwe. It's a roaring song. It roars soldiers of the Lord to come together and move forth, pursuing the assignment upon their life without apology, without fear, without fever, without favor. I love that song.
Had I sung before you, I would have sung the Luganda version. But now that you sang before me, people will, of course, laugh at my voice.
Write your story, and it is significant enough.
Well, we are closing down.
Yes.
And share with us your verse. I mean, the verse on which you build your story.
Without thinking about it, 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 2. I already say 2T22 to remember it.
2T22.
Yes, that is my purpose verse. It communicates my purpose on earth. That's why it is my verse. 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 2 says, and all these things you have heard me speak in the multitude of witnesses. Commit them to faithful men who will teach them to others also. I am on earth to transfer what God has put in my life to others, to develop leaders who will develop other leaders that develop other leaders. My verse, 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 2. Ask me a second one, I would go to Psalm 78, verse 72, that says, and David led Israel out of the integrity of his heart and the skillfulness of his hand. If you asked him in number 3, it would be 2 Timothy 2:15. Do your very best to show yourself as an approved workman of the Lord, who doesn't need to be ashamed of his work, rightly dividing the word of truth.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bakutana.
My pleasure.
And wow, there is a way your story stirs up someone to start meditating and thinking about their purpose on this.
Purpose is important.
And I believe
extremely important.
Someone who has been following probably has picked out as something, and we see the other thing I've also learned is that we see things happening today,
yes.
but there is a seed
Yes.
that has been watered for some time, and so we are seeing the fruits.
Things don't
of
just
that.
come. You are seeing, yes, because they say, Edrine, as we end the program, they say
Yes.
that champions are not made in the ring. They are only revealed in the ring. Champions are made in the preparation room, where you see that kickboxer is punching bags, is carrying sand. That's where the champion is made. But when he comes to the ring and he boxes somebody and he gives him a technical knockout, you think he's made in the ring? He's not. Like this speaking thing, I am now a global speaker. I've spoken on all the 6 continents of the world. But I remember that some time ago when I was in primary school, very young boy, everywhere we would go, my mother would say, do you want to say something? Speak something. So I'm thinking somehow the seed started that time. That's how I got into the betting club. That's how I got into leadership and so on and so forth. So
Edrine Mukalazi is my name. Brinko Ategeka and Jonah Jalo Wakabi and the entire team. It's a good night. We meet again next time.